Okay.
He looks so sweet in this art.
I know, he's not.
He's not.
So.
He's horrible.
I love the Baldur's Gate music though, so we're going to keep that for now. Okay. So, this is Who Are You? Who are you? In our previous game, we left the Feywild after some tense conversations, after some revelations, and some concessions, leading to a new formed party with none other than Loranda Haynes' own brother, Sarazen. So now not only are you dealing with the perplexing, mind-bending fallout of what was total universe shutdown, or so you thought, but also the bitter feud between two brothers as you approach this next stage of your adventure, as Ulster has dictated, the Gauntlet. As Serena mentioned, she could not send you exactly where you wanted to be, but you do appear, as I said at the end of the last game, on the rim of Eldrelith.
Eldrelith's left arse cheek.
Indeed. Now, some of you have seen Eldrelith before. Some of you have not. Maybe for the sakes of Ulster and Sparks, you two feel your feet hit the ground hard and the rush of wind beneath you, knocking the wind out of you. Sleer, you also feel this, but when you look up, you see environs which you are vaguely familiar with. The wide, sweeping fields, slightly parched, of the Eldrelith region of Aprea. For you two, however, this being your first excursion out
So you think.
into this area of Aprea, much more so than the fields, much more so than the beautiful mountain range in the distance, which is a crescent moon barrier around the sort of like perimeter of this area as it would go on to Aprea, the rest of it. Your attention is commanded by the thing behind you. You look and you see a stone wall, just deep charcoal grey, with this really beautifully intricate carvings. And you take a further step back, and then you see the way it curves around into a tail that snakes off into the distance. You look, following that, you see a gorge that's been carved into the land that you are sitting in the valley of. It goes up about 3 stories. A track which something large must have collided with slid along, carving the ground into its own image. And you look to your left, and you look up, and you walk further back, and you see, for the first time in your lives, a dragon of gargantuan size, petrified by magic. Eldrelith himself. His nose, which is out of sight for you, but you can imagine it, pointing towards the city of its namesake, forever watching it where it landed. Eldrelith's watch.
Big dragon, stone dragon.
Loran says, never gets old, does it?
I guess it's stone, so it never would get old, would it?
No, you're so right. Saraza takes a hand and walks right up to it and presses his palm into the stone. And he just says, I can't shake the feeling that there is life beneath those rocks and bones.
Maybe we should get a pickaxe
You'd kill it for sure.
Just to
Sparks?
clarify, it's only that this dragon is so big that we first think it is a wall, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeez.
It just takes up the whole field of view until you step back, and then it reveals its shape. Sorry, I should have clarified that.
No. That's. I think that came across. I just wanted to double check. Yeah.
Sparks, you know this dragon in mythology of Aprea holds quite an integral sort of spot. It is the dragon that was felled by the great sorcerer. It is the dragon which heralded the formation of this country, the era of relative peace. The last great calamity was when this dragon fell, and there has been none since to such a scale. There have been human-mortal conflicts, immortal conflicts even, that have settled themselves in time, but nothing quite like this. That which preceded the fall of Eldralith. And many Dragonborn, they pay homage to this site as a religious site for those of draconic ancestry. So for you specifically, seeing this dragon, how do you feel? Do you feel moved by this, or are you one who would distance himself from this kind of religious practice, pilgrimage, or what do you think?
I think. Ooh, okay, so her dad died, 7 or so years ago, and since then, the temple kind of really took her in. I think at first she doesn't kind of react too much, but then maybe thinking back to what Dad told her, about this place, because there would be, I would think that there'd still be some of the outside, the temple's more insular.
Yeah.
I think thinking about him and what he was trying to teach and convey. If there's if there's a claw or a foot or something, then she might sort of touch it while going past. Yeah.
Well, you can see Saraza is kind of touching the side. You can go up and place your hand beside it, and Saraza looks down at you and says, I don't know much about the traditions of this land, but I know a great creature when I see it. I know a force of nature that is worthy of respect. Does this mean a lot to you and your people?
This... I say honestly, it wouldn't mean much to Melas, it seems. They're more focused on looking in. But
it's a shame. We need right now a temple willing to look without.
And keep watch, I guess. Yeah.
He pulls away and gives you a look, but he doesn't seem to want to over sentimentalize or intrude on what you're experiencing right now. So he gives you a little bit of space, and you touch the side of the stone, and you do actually understand, I think, a bit what Saraza means when he says he feels a bit of life in there. When your palm connects, you feel a depth within the stone that you don't really feel with man-made buildings or anything like that. There is something very profoundly primordial about this creature and this work. And Ulster, I think, being a druid as well, you would potentially feel a similar kind of connection. Maybe if you just reach it through the earth, you kneel down, you feel where the earth was scored by this creature's landing, and you can see the gorge that it made just by the sheer weight of itself, and you see how it's told a story that is resonating even now.
I think Ulster just keeps repeating, big dragon, stone dragon.
And with all of these grandiose, profound ideas, Slayer, you being one of the few people in this party who has seen this before, who has come from a background which would know these sort of things, when you approach, the first thing that kind of would strike you is that the usual hangers-on, that is to say the vagrant groups that build camps at the base of this thing, that hide in its shadows, that carve into it and burrow into holes that were once veins as homes and such to live in, the things you can usually see signs of before, they seem to have mostly disappeared. You can take a step away from the group if you wish. Could you roll me a survival check?
Okay, that is a 19 on the die plus 3, or for 23.
Okay, for 23. So you go to where you know in the past there was sort of it's about 20 feet or so away from the rest of the party, just keeping them very close, but just making your own sort of checks around this area and revisiting what you know about it. Behind this claw, there should be space for an encampment of 20 families or so. And when you kind of make your way around, just peeking over the claw, you look and you see that, yes, there are the footprints, the remnants of this infrastructure, perhaps even in some cases leftover pieces of tarpauling and canvas from tents that were once present here, but have all been dismantled at this point. They're no longer there.
How long does it seem like they've been vacant?
You kind of sort of make your way around and you press your fingers into the rivets in the ground where once tent hooks had been hammered in. There is moisture. There is the formation of some moss that hasn't been disturbed. And with that, you kind of think that it's been maybe 2 weeks. 2-3 weeks.
Does that seem
just
unusual?
Longer than the outbreak has lasted?
Okay.
Just. Yeah. So people haven't been moving out for the Gauntlet, is what you can safely say.
Astra will share that with the group if they seem interested.
People used to live here?
I think Sarah would nod and say, you must have seen it, Astra, considering you travel as you do. But there was a whole community of people who lived here. Not necessarily people who could afford to live in the city limits or in Ironstone, but people who needed a place near those hubs nonetheless.
Does it look like they left in a hurry? Is there a way that Sparks can do
you can check that. Make me a survival check or an investigation check. You can choose.
Can I assist with either check?
Roll with advantage, Anna, if you wish to.
I would love to do that, and I think I would do survival if it's relevant. I have a positive modifier, even if it's only one. With that one. What these people do to survive. Ooh, that's only an 11. But thank you, Astra.
11. Okay, no problem. You do look around together and you struggle to put clues into context. Something I think that you do find, however, which worries you based on everything you know about this area, what it used to be, and how many people used to live here, is you do find a short sword that's been discarded and is sort of like become lost amongst a few scraps of tarpaulin. And when you pull on the hilt, it comes out and brings with it the upper torso of a person who is somewhat bloated and caked in dirt.
Oh dear.
And they've been dead for some time. When you look at this person's features, they seem to be an older man. Probably in their 50s or 60s, human. And he is wearing the clothes of the kind of vagrants that would come through here. Not rough or destitute by any means, but scruffier workman's clothes. Practical. The sword. Can you make me a history check, please? Either one of you.
I guess like
History, yeah.
I'll give it a go. That's a 13.
Okay. You pull it out and you think you recognize these patterns from somewhere, and you can't quite place it, but you know Saraza has a strong knowledge of this area. So you take the sword over to him, and together the two of you look, and Saraza says, This is a sword given usually to people in the army, the ground forces of Eldrelith.
So either he was in the ground forces, or bless you, or maybe he found the sword
And stabbed himself? I doubt it.
I found the sword at another time and was. I wasn't thinking.
He nods and says, I understand. No, I understand. I think your first suggestion was smart. Yes.
Sorry, I tried to write the word guard. I heard the word ground, so I wrote ground.
Proud.
Love it. Love it. You guys gathered all around, looking at the sword, looking at the body.
Oh, I would like to specify that Ulster is not looking at the body. He seems to mainly be walking around Eldrelith, and he seems to just be saying most of the same things and tapping the stone dragon. I don't think he is showing particular interest in the body. It's almost as if he hasn't really registered it's there.
Okay, Saraza would probably call you over. Ulster!
Big dragon, stone dragon.
No, your expertise may be needed here. Nature.
With what?
With this instance.
Why?
A body.
A body's been found.
A man has died in Lego City.
Well, if there's an undead problem, why are you crowding around a dead body?
Well, there must be a reason why this one isn't undead. Perhaps we can learn something.
He kind of peers around in the direction of actual Eldrelith. Okay. And cautiously comes over.
I think Saraza just says, Astro, do you have any powers to talk to the dead?
Well, as this is a spell I've never used, me personally, out of character, let me look at my spell sheet. Actually, Yes. I've
You
never
do?
I've never tried it before, but I could, in theory.
I don't want to pressure you, but if we are investigating the corruption of Eldralith and we find the body of a civilian with a sword of Eldralith's own guard in their body, where once there was a thriving community, and now there is nothing, I feel perhaps it might be relevant.
Sorry, when we discovered the body,
Yes.
Was the sword in the body?
Yes. It was like...
okay.
You pulled the hilt and the body came with the sword.
I thought it was like hand held onto the sword. Okay, that makes a lot more sense what Sarah just said. Right.
I have.
That's why he was like, and he stabbed himself with the sword?
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Does this corpse appear to have been undead?
Okay, make me a medicine check.
Okay.
Or an arcana, whichever you prefer.
Medicine is technically a little higher, so I will take the 21.
21. You look for the certain specific signs of undead, which would be abrasions in the hands, fingers, and feet which don't match up with the time of death, suggesting post death movement or animation. And you actually don't see anything that would indicate that. You open its mouth and you look to see whether it has any foreign matter in there that also doesn't match up with its time of death, as in it would have been inserted after. And it has not cannibalized anything, it doesn't have any remnant blood or anything, so it's obviously not attacked anything. If it's been an undead, it's sat here and stared at the ceiling. If it is not an undead, which is you get the feeling is most likely, then this is just a corpse, and you can be pretty certain it's never been undead.
That actually answers my second question, which is, does it have a mouth?
Aha! It does have a mouth,
yes.
So it is mostly an intact body from the torso up.
Before I cast this spell, I will need an idea of what questions we want to ask. We can ask 5 questions.
How can they respond?
That's a good question. Astra?
As I've never cast it before, I don't actually know.
Well, shall we try something quite broad, Saracen says, and then narrow it down from there?
Okay. Well, I guess we want to know maybe if they were killed by the city guard, right?
Yes, certainly. Start there, and then maybe we'll be given more prompts to question. So, I think as you guys are discussing that, Loran sort of stands next to you, Ulster, and just says, "You don't seem to care that much."
It's not a lack of caring. It's just that...
No, I don't care. It's up to you. I support you in everything.
It's just that I don't want to be derailed. Dead bodies tend to do that.
Loran looks at the sky and sort of points at the sun, sort of direction of the sun. We'll be alright.
I know, but questions that could be posed to something may lead others to the conclusion that we need to go to Eldralith, and that is not where we should be going right now.
For sure. I think what we can ascertain from this is that there are multiple threads all pulling us in vaguely the same direction. Luckily, we seem to be in the best position to address them all these problems.
Well, I am sure they will have good fun unraveling puzzles.
Because you've done all this before?
I have.
Or is that not allowed? Are we not allowed to talk about this anymore?
He kind of just smiles. It's a bit tight-lipped.
I don't see a door.
Well, let's just say he is looking around, being very careful with his words. Let's just say this isn't on my agenda right now, and I do know what would happen if we were to pursue that lead, which is why I am not lending my support behind it. Isn't that right, Bears? Not on the support, no Eldrith.
Alright, I won't ask any questions I don't want to hear the answers to. But they're about to ask a bunch of questions I am very curious, and I've never seen a corpse talk so openly before.
Well, you should enjoy things whilst they're novel.
Oh, Bash. Little man. Little Baz. Baz. Basil. You're named after Ulster. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
You really aren't anything like Ulster, Baz.
No. So, as you guys are watching, do you guys have any other questions you want to ask this, or are you going to just kind of go with the flow and figure them out as you go?
I think Ulster's stepped back from the corpse. He's letting everyone else handle it.
He's making bickies, guys.
Making bickies.
Oh.
He's working in his
He's
bakery.
working in the
Working
bakery.
overtime. Working on a Saturday evening, Baz. No.
He's making bickies.
Okay, so I'm assuming you guys are going to go for it. So, Sleer.
Sorry, I'm writing down questions.
That's all good. Thank you. If you've got ideas, that's all we need to get started. So, you trace. Yes?
I'm wondering, do we vaguely want to know how this person died? Is it just like all about? Oh, we could maybe ascertain if like others were able to flee, or if we saw them captured, or right? Okay, yeah. Who did this, and what are the whereabouts of anyone else at the camp? I guess is that a fair?
Yes.
Because I'm sure we wouldn't be able to get any other information.
Anna, you're going crazy. Try it again.
Sorry,
Ah!
I will switch to my.
Ah!
A robot.
Baz. Being an eep. Look how eepy he is.
He is. Well, he's just really intensely making biscuits. He's like,
Because he wants to suckle the blanket. He shoves his face into it and he goes. Right, so, Sleer. You trace a rune in the air and your eyes light green, and there is a strange hue that shifts over this body as it slightly lifts off the ground, its head lolled back, its mouth and eyes wide open. And you may ask your first question. What are you going to ask?
Who were you?
And the voice says, raspily, I was Lily! Blew her nose very loudly, just as I was about to role play. Says, I was a representative of the people. I spoke for them. I led them. I died for them. Okay.
Were you camped here?
Many were. This has been a home for those without one for some time. Yep.
Who killed you?
And the voice says, "Oh, sorry. A garrison. Army, but they answered not to the queens. Their armor black. Their helms sporting the feathers of birds of prey.
Selena's gonna look to like Sarazar and Sparks to see if they have any additional things that might be worth asking.
Okay.
I have one.
Mm-hmm.
Of the people here were killed.
How many of the people here were killed?
How many?
Okay.
How long did the questions be? I'm not sure.
Sorry, you're really robotic.
Short, right?
Hang on, let me see if we can change the region for it. Rotterdam. Wait, let's go to. Okay, Anna, can you say something? Anna? Anna, can you say?
Oh, this is me saying something.
Say something again. Okay, no, you're really fast. Okay,
Anna, do you want to try typing in your question and I'll read it out?
Yeah, but we just need a more session-friendly solution. Just to check the playback speed, can you repeat what I say in like the same cadence that I say it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Anna? Okay, that's not good. She can't even hear what I'm saying. All right. Anna.
Sorry, I muted myself. Sorry, I muted myself to get ready to type.
Okay. It's really quite robotic. Is there any way you can rejoin?
Not sure what the issue is.
Yeah, I changed the region in hopes it'd make it better, but it didn't.
Yes.
Repeat what I say. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, it's really, even in Sydney as the region, it's not good.
we just completely restart the call?
Let's restart the call completely.
I'm sorry. Sorry, folks.
You're good, you're good. What's your question?
Actually, it'd probably be more important to know if many people escaped. Were many people able to escape being killed?
Okay, there's a pause as they kind of take in the complexity of the question. And they say, my people, many still have their lives, but they were taken far from here.
I personally have a follow-up question, but that's the final question. I've looked at Astra just to check that I can have the final one.
Sarah says that's fine.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Do you know where your people were taken to?
Okay. They say, they wanted volunteers to defend the city, but they did not seem ordinary, and none of us trusted them. If they were taken there. And with that, the corpse goes silent.
So he said they wanted volunteers to defend the city, but they did not seem ordinary,
Yep.
and none of us trusted them.
Yep.
And then the final sentence was, if they were taken there. Is that right?
Yep, so implying they were taken to the city.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I mean, Sparks would also say thank you, but I know the corpse is already unanimated.
Ran claps his hands. Bravo, bravo! What a lovely show. Are we done talking to the dead?
Well, I believe
I
the dead
think
is
Sparks would move. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I just said I believe the dead are done talking to us.
Indeed, they must not have found you pleasant company. What a shame. I, however, think you're lovely.
What do you want?
Thank you, Lynn.
I just think it'd be good, considering this is an active crime scene, if we were to get out. I can't be seen near another felony. It'd be the end for me.
What was the last felony?
You don't want to know.
I probably.
Nah.
Do you think we have time to bury this man's body?
Ulster waves his hand and just earth covers it again. Done.
So you mold earth just around it.
It.
It takes a few seconds and the earth just kind of rumbles and slowly, stone by stone, filters over the body and it sinks slightly into the ground. And there is a cairn almost where this man once was.
It is
man.
actually better to leave them close to the surface for scavengers because it's a bit unethical to bury them deep down where they're not really going to do much service to anyone except bugs.
Lovely. Ulster, remind me not to give you permission to do anything with my body when I'm dead.
I won't let you die, I'll bring you back.
I mean, one day we all have to die.
Not me. I'm immortal and gonna live forever.
Well, death is sometimes just the beginning. Let's go.
It's just part of
So-
nature.
Yes, for some people. Let's go.
Boring
He
people.
starts
I'm going to
walking away.
fuck forever. Goodbye, everybody. And he just picks a direction and starts walking.
I love the Laszlo reference.
I know.
I'm against that.
To drink blood and fuck forever. I miss what we do in the shadows.
Such a good show.
That last season ending was such a cop out, though.
It was.
Oh damn. Okay, right. I think Sparks would want what was it?
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, like she has a desire to.
Just repeat slowly what
Hello.
you said.
Sparks
yes.
has the feeling of wanting to plant the sword
Plant. Yes.
in the
In the ground.
with a little tag that says "Man here killed by Garrison." I don't know.
a little
In a way to
custom
make
marker
it
for
seem
later.
like "Man here killed by Garrison." Sad face.
Okay.
That's a very heartfelt epitaph.
Indeed. Lovely.
I don't
You
know.
do that.
Yeah.
Saraza says, I'm sure his family will have no trouble finding him. And Loran, have a bit more tact around the dead, why don't you?
But dead people can't usually hear you.
It's a matter of respect, Ulster. Understand that, at least.
Well, anyway, we should probably be going.
We should. I don't want to hang around this any longer. And he just waves his hand. The dead smell bad, Saraza. You would
That
know.
actually might be us. We should probably look for somewhere we can have a shower before the gauntlet.
I am always clean. I have magic for that. Who's dirty? Put up your hands.
Loran fucking
Of course, I
Loran
know you
fucking
are, Ulster.
snuck
Anyone
that
else?
in. Oh my god.
You what, mate?
Loran said like you would know how the dead smell.
Yeah, I know, he's a bitch.
Loran, how could you?
Saraza had a
Oh.
little look at that. He had a little look. And
Wow.
he's got a ticker. He's getting close, but he's not there yet.
Anyway, let us. I'm leaving.
Okay, pick the direction, darling.
He points roughly in the direction of where the gauntlet is.
Now,
As we walk, Sparks, go.
interestingly, the Gauntlet and the Eldrith are roughly, in this universe at least, in the same direction. In the other universes, they've all been in. The Gauntlet's always been in a very different location in the original canon, but we change things as we need to.
Isn't the gauntlet slightly to the left? If we're facing a Praeons. If we're facing Eldrith.
Where did we say it was? There is
Grasses.
the grasses. No, that's a different one. The grasses are over. Well, it has to be the grasses. No, it can be the blood sands. We'll have it be there.
Okay, I don't know where the blood sands are.
That's next to Eldrith.
Okay,
That's the
so we're
only
going to
that's the only arena that makes sense for the logic here.
Okay.
The Gauntlet is 5 arenas, one of which none of you know what it is. The ones you know of are the Zero, which Cass is the champion of, which is the underground city. The Grasses, which is the plains on the other side of the mountain range above Ironstone. The Wastes, which is the other side of the mountain range on the other side of Ironstone. And then the Blood Sands, which are next to Eldrith's Watch.
I don't usually come to this one.
No, would you usually go to any of them, Ulster?
No?
No.
He's lying. You don't even need to make an insight check.
Fabulous. What do you guys think Dural and Karul are doing right now?
I could tell you, I could scry on them.
What if you see something you don't want to see?
Well,
It'd
Then
be
I
kind of
would
funny.
I would close the scrying. Do you want me to scry on them? It could be quite funny.
What do you guys think?
Will it help us in the gauntlet?
No, it's for amusement. He takes out his sending stone. Droll, if I scry on you, will it be safe to scry on you, or would it be something we don't want to see?
I can't find my son. I've had Coral look everywhere. He's not on this plane. Tell me what you know.
Oh, he's in the Underdark?
Where? I'm coming to you now.
Okay. We're walking though, so you'll have to hurry.
Where are you?
He roughly describes the latitude and longitude of where they are.
Okay,
And then just walk for a little bit and you should see us.
fine.
We don't need to scry on them, he's coming here. Are you bringing Coral?
Never.
What is he doing?
Making coffee. I'll be back.
Alright, bye.
There's a scream in the air, like the sky tearing itself apart, and Droll walks through, about 50 feet to the left of you.
Quite close description, isn't it? Hi.
He walks over. What the fuck is wrong with you?
What do you mean?
Tell me everything.
What do you mean?
Where's my son?
Well, I don't know exactly where he is.
Okay, well, say more.
Um,
Who told you where he was?
no one.
No one.
Well,
How do you know he's in the
child has
Underdark?
seen it. A child.
Where is the child?
The child doesn't have any more information.
You don't know that. I could
No, I
extract
do know
more.
that.
Question?
Yeah.
Didn't also convey this last session that the child was, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this still?
Yeah. So he's insane, guys. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll have to find your child.
Now.
No, after the
I
gauntlet.
changed my mind now.
No, you really don't want to do that.
Why?
It just would be bad.
There's at least 5 of you here. That's an unnecessary number. I want 1 to come with me.
No.
Why?
Because we have to finish the gauntlet and we need at least 5.
Selfish.
No, we'll help you after.
No, you won't. What are you
Yes, I
going to do
will.
after?
Well, we have a gap of time in which we probably could help you. Although it could go rather badly. We don't usually do this.
Who says I need your help?
Well, you would because you would die. You're going to need at least 3 people to do this.
I have friends.
Do you?
Sinestre, Vishar, and Feyren.
Well, I don't think they'll be good long-term friends for you.
Why?
A feeling. Those are all very untrustworthy names.
They may be part of the sisterhood, but I have no reason to distrust them other than the fact that they're child traffickers.
And let's play that back. And let that just sink in when you're trying to find your child who's being trafficked.
They know something. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, no.
Tell me everything, and he holds a knife to your throat.
Draw, push it away. Thank you.
He takes your throat.
If I was present for all the same conversations, then we don't have any more information currently, that other than your son's in the Underdark.
He slithers around and climbs onto your back, Sparks, and kneels over and looks at you. I don't trust you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll take one of your scales. He plucks one from behind your ear. I always know where you are.
Drell,
What?
make
Okay.
you
Did that hurt? Blue one?
Drell, stop torturing.
Sorry,
Yes.
my natural instincts.
Get off.
I like it.
Blue makes it easier for him to get off. Like doesn't
You're very
shove him
nice,
off.
aren't
But
you?
like
Slides down the back of
Those-
your armor. We.
Are you happy to be in Paris, Drell?
We. Lands on his feet and scuttles back.
I'll make you a very good deal.
I already have a pretty decent deal with Sinestre and her ilk.
They will turn on you.
He looks over at Astra, kind of seeing if anything got a reaction from them.
Astra is just completely neutral. Hasn't made any sort of expression the entire time.
Okay, does that need to come with any kind of check?
Exceptional performance.
Who is at this point?
Yes, there was a reaction before. Which is why I'm asking, otherwise I'd leave it.
Scratching, you're not being good.
No. Astra?
Sorry,
Fleet.
that is a dirty 20.
Okay.
To deceive or to perform?
I'm gonna to quote a Vine. Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Astra just seems to be very calm and collected. If you would like to know further, please roll an insight check.
Droll didn't roll a 20, but they look over at you and they say, "The Underdark's a big place, but the communities are small and woven together in a web that spreads from north to south, east to west. What do you know, Sleer? It's a nice name."
Does he know? Does he know that the real name is Sleer? Hang on, and most of us don't, or some of us.
You guys all know it by this point, I'm pretty sure. Astra,
do we?
Aelin, you've signed off the most recent documents that you drew for Zarina as Sleer. So I assumed everyone would know.
I mean, everybody could have picked up the implication. Sleer has not confirmed or necessarily denied.
I think then, considering that Adraal's very, considering that Adraal is a very perceptive person, I think it would still be fine. And they would just say that and leave that question in your court.
Would you repeat
They said the Underdark's a big place, but the communities are small and woven together like a web. Isn't that right, Sleer?
You would certainly know far more than I would.
Would I? Perhaps I could pay a visit to your mother.
You don't need to threaten people.
Perhaps I could pay a visit to your father. There's plenty I could tell him.
Wait, my dad?
I've been to your house many times.
Oh. Well, I hope you really didn't enjoy it. Well, you don't
really doesn't like this vibe.
Yeah, you don't need to visit anyone's parents because that's a bit low, just saying, Droll. We could, in fact, make a very simple deal, which is that we, as a group, being as kind-hearted and open as we are very happy to help you after the Gauntlet. If you want the Gauntlet to go faster, you could help us fight it.
No. But
Okay, then we won't help you. Otherwise, you just won't be on time for anything.
I thought your deal was we would complete the Gauntlet and then help.
Steps on your foot, Sparks, as you start talking.
You're indecisive, aren't you? 1 minute you're offering to help me, no strings attached. The next, it's suddenly you need me for the Gauntlet. So you won't win if I don't join you. Interesting. Well, what if I told you this? I'm not joining you, but I'll watch from the sidelines. And when you all start to fall, I will only save one, and I will save the one who tells me now which of you has the most information about my son's whereabouts. Save your own life. Tell me now.
I guess you don't want to take the deal then. You can go home.
You offered me no deal.
That was the deal.
No, there wasn't. You said you would help me after the gauntlet.
If we had time, was the specification. And sometimes, Gerald, things go wrong. People
So
get
why,
injured.
if my end of the bargain is conditional anyway, why should I help you?
I don't understand why you wouldn't be happy to lend your knives for an evening.
I don't lend my knives for just anyone.
For your son?
My son isn't at the gauntlet.
I know where your son is.
And I know ways to get that information out of you. And I don't want to use them.
Well, you could threaten, you could kill, but the only person who end up hurting would be yourself. You know there are smoother and easier ways to get the information.
Fact of the matter is, I don't want to fight with you. And your party is full. How many can enter the gauntlet? You've got a full team already. You'd have to shirk one of your companions. Who would you say is surplus? If you have to ask me, it's probably the wizard, right?
He won't be fighting.
Oh,
But he will be alone on the sidelines.
will he? That's good to know. Goodbye, Ulster. I'll speak to you again.
Last chance, Draw.
Ulster. I think you misunderstand our relationship. Goodbye.
Well, an attempt was made, and he keeps walking.
Astra continues walking behind Ulster.
It's not good. Not good.
Loran just looks a bit quiet and then comes up to you, Ulster.
It's something he wants to do to himself. He does always make quite bad decisions at this stage, so I suppose that makes sense. But if he, well, he's talking more to himself than anything.
Loran follows you, but he just says, so, you think we need more people to win?
No.
That's not what you said in the Feywild, Ulster.
Not to win. I think we can comfortably win with this group. But there is a possibility that, like what happened in the forest before, there may be injuries. There may be issues. I don't know.
You still don't want me to fight?
No.
I won't be the one arranging your funeral.
Well, if it's my funeral, it's everyone's funeral. Anyway,
What do you mean?
I'll be fine.
I don't like that, Ulster.
What would make everyone, he turns back, what would make everyone most comfortable going to the Gauntlet? What do you need to know?
Getting rid of him, Ulster and Loran say it at the same time whilst pointing at each other.
Not an option. Next.
I don't understand. We had offered to help Giral at a has something changed?
It's called safeguarding. You have more people on your team, you have more of a chance of success. Doesn't mean we won't succeed with this group, but I would have thought he'd been more amiable to actually helping.
Was he amiable to helping before this? Or was he an antagonist, shall we say? Because I'm not going to pretend like you don't know anymore.
Where his son is involved, he can be easily swayed. But to be perfectly honest, going to save his son right now would be a very difficult thing.
Seems like he doesn't like to be manipulated.
Making a deal isn't manipulation.
Making a deal and maybe changing the stakes might come across a little harsh for him.
Harsh for him. He threatened to kill you.
And I respect that, also.
I don't.
He laughs and says, no, if it was you, I would have dropped everything. So maybe I can understand him better than I would like to admit.
If he wants help, then he should be willing to offer some in return. Helping people for the sake of helping people sometimes.
Didn't he help you? Help you escape? Karul, I mean.
Help me escape Karul.
You could have been in that box. We'd never have found you.
Isn't he, in a way, helping right now by keeping an eye on Karul?
Karul is perfectly harmless.
I'm just wondering, and it's not like me to play devil's advocate, and all that. I trust you, Ulster, and I understand speed is of the essence, but what if, in the Gauntlet, something happens you're not expecting? I'm not saying we made a mistake. I don't think we had time to go and save a child from the Underdark or wherever he is. But we're going to the Gauntlet to save Shu. What if she's not there?
She will be there.
But did you ever encounter the Githyanki before? Or this scale of undead? I'm just asking because if there's the possibility that things might not go your way, how you expect...
They're not going my way.
No, excuse me, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. I didn't mean to say it that way. Go as you expect. I want to know how much danger we're in and how much damage that could do to this. And he gestures to the general area.
Just keep me alive. Keep yourselves as safe as possible. I mean, death is not the end for any of you here, so I can bring you back.
It's not. Ulster. I don't think we die, do we?
What do you mean?
He looks over at Saraza and then to Sleer and Sparks. No. Never mind, Ulster. It's fine. Devil's advocate is only so much fun. I tire of this. Let's go to the Gauntlet. You're right. We shouldn't waste time.
I mean, I don't know what happens if you all just turn around and decide to leave. Never happened before.
In every opportunity, have you done what you've done before?
Some things always have to happen in certain ways.
To the Gauntlet, then.
I will preface by saying I really don't remember this one.
Perhaps you'll surprise yourself.
Let's hope not.
Saraza looks between the two of you like, what are you guys on about? This is so confusing. Can you stop talking in riddles and get on with it? Seriously. What is happening?
People are being very rude to me today. I'm walking ahead. And he leaves all of you and keeps walking.
You get the impression he was mostly talking to Loran.
He walks ahead.
He's like, Loran, seriously, I get that you're intelligent or whatever, but honestly, you make no sense. Even to me. Well, no reason I don't make no sense to you. You're thick as they come. I'm gonna go walk with Sparks because she's far more fun company. Sparks?
I was going to ask.
Yeah?
Is the carpet coming out?
There's not space. Saraza's too heavy for us all to fit.
If Loran seems serious about that, Sparks has an idea. Find Steed.
Yeah, you want to summon a fucking unicorn or something?
How would you feel about Warhorse?
Warhorse, okay, for sure. You summon a warhorse. Talk to me about their coloration and mane, etc.
They have to be rainbow.
They definitely have some rainbow streaks in their hair.
Well, I'm guessing of Celestial Fail Fiend. Celestial, I think, makes more sense out of those
You
types.
summon forth the Great Pegasus. It cannot fly, I don't think, but it is a pretty cool looking warhorse. And you mount it, looking all the Dragonborn knight that you are. And with a hya and a smack of the reins, you gallop alongside this carpet. Loran looks very upset that Saraza is on the carpet, and he sits as far away from him as possible and looks grumpy. But he sits next to you, Ulster, and
have to take the carpet. We could have walked not that far.
He flops his head in your lap and just goes.
Question.
Yes.
The warhorse is. The warhorse, I think, is Wait, what?
Look at my teeth.
The warhorse is large.
Large, yes.
Can Saraza also be on the warhorse?
Can a 6'6" and a 6'4" person be on the back of one warhorse? In armor with weapons. I'm gonna say.
Maybe Saraza can ride the horse and
Saraza could be on there, or you could be on there, and one other person could be on there, but not you two at the same time.
All right. I think Sparks would say to the horse. I think it can understand a language.
Okay, he can. Yes.
Wait. So I can communicate telepathically.
Okay. I'm ready.
Within 1 mile, and it can understand one language of the choice that I speak, and I think that should be common. I'd be like, "Hello, you're very cool. Can you ride alongside us whilst carrying this man, Saraza Dehane, safely on your back?"
Yes. You get me.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Saraza mounts the steed and then goes, yeah, and looks amazing galloping along the plains alongside you guys. But you're all dream team on the carpet. Also, as all this is happening and Loran lays his head and all that, you're kind of just absent-mindedly stroking his hair. And very quietly, you just hear Loran say, "Is it in danger? Or are we safe here?" And Ulster, something you've been kind of ignoring, but can't completely forget, is at the very top of your vision, almost like an eyelash, you just see this golden like filament just kind of like glinting in the sunlight when it peeks through. Something that doesn't quite fit in with the perspective of the world around you. This hairline fracture. The tiniest thing. But it's not going away.
Ulster shuts his eyes and shakes his head. Never safe.
Loran nods and just curls in on you a little bit. When all this is done, we'll go back to my ship and we'll sail off. That's safe. I'm sure of it.
It's a good plan. It's a nice dream, you know. It's good to have those.
One of my character's last words was, it was a beautiful dream. I thought that was a nice little resonant
Which
moment.
character?
Lincoln. Well, technically, his last words were, "Rock and roll never dies." But his last thoughts were, "It was a beautiful dream." But anyway.
As they fly, I think Ulster will kind of swivel around to look at Sparks and Astra, and he smiles. Well, are you excited to be at the Gauntlet?
If you can call nervousness of having this bag that Serena gave us, the bag of Varing, if you can call that excitement, I feel like I've already had plenty of excitement today, and then there's been more exciting stuff. So it'll be, yep.
Okay.
A lot of excitement.
So,
yeah.
As you guys are flying forwards, Saraza kind of gallops slightly ahead of you, and there's a dust sort of cloud that sort of picks up as wind travels along these plains. It slightly obscures the horizon, but it's really flat in this area. So you can see a speck which grows larger and larger as the city wall of Eldrelith's Watch comes into appearance, just fading in from the blue sky background. And just ahead of that, peeking up from the ground, a clearly makeshift structure, but a vast expanse of structures nonetheless. You see what can only be described as a colosseum, a building made of wood and stone and buttresses, all cobbled and held together, that becomes increasingly apparent that it's a temporary structure, something that has been erected specifically for the sole purpose of blood sport. And that is hammered home even more to you when you start to see these sort of like things hanging like flags off of the sides. You think that maybe they're banners, but the way that they move is it's just a bit too heavy. And you get closer, you realize not banners or flags, but skin. It's skin from different creatures and humanoids, which has been sort of like flayed and tanned and is hung from the heights of this Colosseum. From all around on the carpet, Loran kind of motions something to Saraza and then pulls up, communicating that he's going to fly slightly higher than usual. From this sort of like perspective, you can see there are streams of people where once it looked somewhat just like clouds of dust, these are actually dust being picked up by groups as they walk through towards the sort of parcher areas where there is more dust and mud and sand than there is grass. Well-trodden areas, arid somewhat, in the heat of midday. And you notice something, Ulstem, and this is something that you've not seen before, which is that, yes, you guys are flying, but circling around this arena, there are giant birds. Not like the ones you saw the Gith Yankee flying on, but these are more feral things. And you see an Aarakocra kind of flying up, trying to avoid the crowds. And as it gets higher, kind of about to kind of like arch over the crowds and kind of cut through the line, one of the eagles descends, and Talon's first just shreds through one of its wings, and it falls to the ground and immediately is just trampled on as these groups of people are swelling and surging towards the gates. All of them in heavy armor or hide, carrying weapons and flails, and some of them, those who are even here to spectate, they are relinquishing and trying to pull back, but they're getting swept up in this just approach as the gates are being forced shut as the arena reaches capacity, and there is a tide of people to contend with here. Saraza looks up at you and pulls the horse around, trying to skirt around the group without getting caught in it before you guys can figure out a plan. So, there is essentially a wall of people here. You guys need to get from one side to the other. I don't mind how you do it, but if you wish...
The eagles sound like they would mind.
Perhaps. It seems the time is now to make your way into the Gauntlet. So, how are you getting in? You guys can see there is the main gate where everyone is surging to. There is the arena behind it, and then obviously there's more structures around.
We need to clear a path.
Okay, how are you doing that?
It's a very good question. Give me a sec.
Okay. Loran says, if anything, the fight starts now. I'd say there's no limits on what we can do. How about I cause a line of fire in between them and set them all alight?
I think that would not end well, because you would start a giant barbecue.
I'm a big fan of meat.
Well, so are they. He looks up at the eagles.
Perhaps it'll distract them, give them something to chew on whilst we fly past. Any brighter ideas? And he calls around to the group.
Also, his little bag that he got from Zarina. A distraction.
So more chaos in hopes of making an opening.
And maybe call down the birds.
Perhaps. Do what you wish. But maybe save one for the fight.
Okay. I will look in the bag.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to throw out 2 beads?
I'm just going to look at the bag.
Okay.
Bag of tricks. Oh, it's inexhaustible.
Yeah, you can reuse it every day.
Okay, then I will pull out 2 beads, yes.
Yep, okay. Can you please roll me a D... Hang on a second, let me look at the... Yep.
I can tell you what it is.
Okay.
A giant badger.
Ha!
And a giant rat.
Slay! Ulster goes... And quite in form, flying from the sky. Loran, I think, goes up a little higher than he usually would again. And as one of the eagles flies low, a giant rat goes and just sort of like barrels down and sort of lands on the eagle. It's so caught off guard. The eagle gets sort of like scooped and slides across the ground, just barging through, creating a sort of like row of like empty space as it sort of just throws people out of the way. Swords go flying, people are on their asses. Okay, you've made a little bit of space. You can advance forward a little bit. There is still a swell of people ahead of you, and you on the carpet. You think there's only so much you can do without standing out quite obviously as disruptors of the peace, if there is any peace here.
Can we fly very low?
You can fly low, so you can fly at roughly shoulder height and probably be okay. The giant badger goes and kind of like brings out its claws and starts frothing at the mouth with rabies and just goes.
Can I make it burrow into people?
And throw someone aside and starts digging.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a few rounds for it to be particularly lucrative, but you get to feel the tremors in the earth. And Saraza says, "A little help," as he is kind of like using the pommel of his sword to sort of like bat people away.
Can we follow the tunnel that the badger makes to the front of the line?
So if you're asking him to sort of carve an underground tunnel and pop up, that's going to take quite a while.
The giant badgers have an action where they can burrow.
Yeah, they can burrow themselves. Hang on, let me have a look. Let me see.
That horse has a trampling charge.
If you want to take control of the steed, that's something you could definitely do. Okay, giant badger. They can bite, they can claw. They can't burrow, but I can say for flavour.
Burrow, hold on. Is it not the giant badger?
Giant badger. Medium beast, unaligned, armor class 10, 13 HP.
Am I getting confused with Baldur's Gate?
Keen smell, multi-attack. Badger makes 2 attacks. One with its bite, one with its claws.
Hold on.
Sparks, you want to use the steed to charge at people.
I think it might just be Baldur's Gate, sorry.
That's fine.
There, so
Yeah.
the warhorse. The warhorse can make a trampling charge, so if it has 20 feet of movement towards a creature and then hits it with a hooves attack, the target has to succeed on a DC 14 strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
Okay, I think that these two things can work together then. Because I think it'd be a bit difficult for the badger to burrow, but then also keep that opening open for you guys to all pass through in the sort of size that you are on the carpet. But what you could do, Allstar and Sparks, is Sparks, where the badger starts burrowing kind of 10 feet in a row, the steed could keep that area open for you guys to progress by slamming away people who seem to try and fill that space that the badger makes for you guys to move through.
The warhorse can repeatedly move up and down. It has 60 feet of movement, so it can,
Okay, for sure. Saraza kind of holds on tight and urges it forwards as you mentally communicate with it to sort of slam through the crowds and sort of hopping and jumping and sort of kicking around, almost like Buckaroo. It manages to keep the crowds at bay, working with your badger Allstar, and you guys progress forwards. Now, you are deep in the throng as the people close behind you, ringing you in, which brings a new threat, as whilst the carpet gives you a bit of height, the eagles keep you low, and you can feel the pressure crumpling around you. And Loran just says, "Come on, barbecue Allstar. Let me."
Well, that's what harm could it do?
Yes. Loran cuts down and circles his hands and goes as a sphere of fire just kind of bursts out from around you. And it's so bright that the people around you shield their eyes, and the people who are in the sort of first ring of you are sort of sent to their knees screaming as these burns erupt all over their flesh. And they kind of cull in on themselves. And you guys move forward. There's the last row of people before the gates. And Loran sort of contracts his spear to his fists and just says, "I'm holding on to it." Hang on a sec. And you can see the fire just beginning to sort of flicker on his hands. He says, "Nope. I'm fine.
Let it go.
Auster, I'm fine. Let me do this.
Let it go.
No.
I know it's very chaotic. Is there any way to insight check what was happening there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, please go ahead.
That's a 19.
Okay. The 19, you know, Zarina said that Loran's man wouldn't be ready after the sort of like infiltration into his mind to fight in the Gauntlet. And Loran's been pushing back against that this whole time. And you get the impression from the look on his face that he is ashamed or embarrassed at the state of what for him is such a simple spell. And he sees you looking and he just says, "What? I'd like to see you do better."
Yeah, and I can't do better than that, and that was very helpful. Okay, I think Bluey's gonna. Bluey has the idea of a lightning breath weapon. I don't know. It's a line. It's maybe as an intimidation tactic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lightning breath weapon? Okay, for sure. Sleer, are you doing anything, by the way?
The only thing I really can do is like thaumaturgy to kind of like make like a rumbling thunder or like some sort of approach that might startle and scare people, or could potentially assist with Bluey's intimidation.
Sparks, what are you going to say?
An idea. Sparks yelling out, "Please move." Thaumaturgy could amplify the voice.
Could amplify her voice, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lightning breath weapon, maybe not directly directed at people, but yeah. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, so Sleer, you cast thaumaturgy as Sparks. You yell out, your breath laced with lightning.
Please move!
Move! And it resonates throughout the crowd. And there, where once there was yelling and shoving, there is suddenly a moment of just quiet. And the carpet slowly rolls forward until it's at the front of the crowd. And kind of stunned, but also trying to be as fast as possible, a guard who's been sort of like linking arms, forming a barrier with the other guards at this area of the gate. These people clearly are not officials. They don't belong to the Eldrith Guard. This is some sort of lesser, more regional guardship that has been sent here to do their best to wrangle this crowd. They've been hired for the event, and they're out of their depth. And they look at you and they just say, "Look, that was an impressive show, guys, but we're full. We can't take any more."
I personally don't know how to be convincing.
Where is it? Okay, Emma?
Yes.
How many... Is there a central guard that's kind of keeping us out?
Yeah, this one, it seems to be. So there's the row of guards who kind of yelled forward, and this one steps out and they immediately form a link where he left. His look is a lot more official, but he is revolting. His skin has kind of got these sores on it, and there's like a sort of scab on one patch. Also, you know a piece of information which the others don't know, which is that this is the guard that always lewds on Loran whenever you guys have approached this place before.
Wait, what?
Lewds on Loran whenever you've approached this place before. And he picks a scab on his chin, which starts to bleed, and he just peels it off as he's looking at you and tosses it aside.
Right. Also,
And he looks over and starts surveilling your group.
Right. Ulster jumps down. I think he's quite small.
Yeah.
Is there any way Ulster can get close to this guard without being seen? Can I make a stealth check?
Okay, so you thinking that because Sparks has been the one who yelled, they'd have all the intention on them.
Yeah.
So you want to slip away in that spot.
Yeah.
Considering that, you get advantage.
Okay.
And then I need a break to get some water because my throat really hurts.
Right. 18 and a 10. So I think that's a 20. Hold on. Yes, 20 with advantage.
Okay, 20 with advantage. So, ba-ba! You slip away and you kind of like hide yourself in the crowd. What are you going to do next?
I'm going to make an attack against this guard.
Okay.
At his stomach.
Okay. So he is wearing armor. You can see that there is it's not the most well made. And on his side, right by the left hand of his abdomen, as you'd be coming in, where his pancreas would be, there is a weakness in the armor where it's being sort of held together by leather ties and cords. And it seems like it's firm for this kind of crowd suppressing scenario, but it wouldn't necessarily hold up in a duel. So you think that is probably your spot to aim for.
Okay. I would like to make a primal savagery attack to eviscerate the guard.
When you say eviscerate, what do you mean?
Going for the lower area. 14 plus 7 is 21.
21 will hit, yeah.
$11 points of acid.
Roll. You were stealthed, right? Roll with advantage. Just in case you get a natural 20.
I didn't get a natural 20.
That's fine. Right, okay, so what was the damage?
11 points of acid damage.
Okay. As you guys see the guard talking to you, his eyes kind of wander and they pause for a brief moment, and then you just see him almost as if he's like about to say something, looking at Loran, and then he just goes, "Ah!" and doubles over and he kind of collapses to his knees. And the moment he falls to his knees, the crowd again just starts surging and he gets knocked forward onto his face. Also, what is your play?
The second there's a gap, I think he will urge everyone through.
Okay.
Okay.
That works.
So I had said that when he steps out, the gap is closed, but if there's enough of a scuffle, I think that might cause a bit of like a weakness amongst the guards. So can I please have... Ulster, you obviously easily get through, considering you were the one who caused this. So you step to the other side of this line. I would like it if everybody else could make a stealth check as well, just to see if you can kind of make it through unscathed. And I'll have Loran and Sarah to do the same.
Does the armor give disadvantage?
Sarah rolls at disadvantage, and you got a 7. Your armor would give you disadvantage if it's written on, yeah. But it's a group check.
11.
Okay.
14.
Ulster, can you roll just to add to the group still?
Or can I carry over my 21s?
You'd be rolling again, I think, if that's okay. Because you broke stealth to attack.
Okay. I mean, I'm already past them though.
No, but you're going to help your friends. You're already fine, but they
Why
might...
would a stealth help them?
A group, Lily, because a group stealth check, if they get really low, then there might be one person left behind. And just for ease of efficiency, it might... Just saying you roll it as well. You're already through, you're fine.
I don't think I should roll it, because I'm not involved.
But as a group... Okay, that's fine. And then...
I'm not stealthing, so it won't matter.
7. Sarah's Loran, Sparks, and Astra.
If Sarah gets left behind, I can give him another opening.
It's not that, I'm just... Okay, so you guys got a 12 overall. So as you guys try and make it through, the guards kind of like surge and sort of like hold their ranks, trying to like stop individuals coming through. The crowd start pushing up behind you, and Loran kind of has to take the carpet down as there's just not much space anymore. And also, you see them getting pressed quite uncomfortably up in front of the guards. At this point, Loran just misty steps through, which is something the others can't do. But he just kind of takes his breath and he just says, "Okay, love that. Beautiful. How are we going to get them over here?"
I think also just, again, I don't know if it's going to work. He will summon forth the badger and the rat, I think.
Okay, so the badger and the rat can just keep kind of clearing the path as stop people crashing on them. But Sparks, what are you going to do?
If there's 20 feet of movement in front of that warhorse towards the opening, then I would get the warhorse to make a trampling charge to try and get a bit more, I guess, like vertical space for us to zoom through on the carpet.
Okay.
And also for Sarah to get
through. There are so many people trying to get through this one bottleneck. It's not going to be able to move 20 feet fast, like in a sort of stampede. At this stage, you're thinking initiative. It might be coming up. So you might want to start thinking like if you want to get the jump on these guys, because they aren't. If you're not going to sneak past them, then you're going to have to fight your way through it at this point.
Okay. That warhorse has 60 feet of movement. If it's difficult terrain, if that's the only thing,
it can do. Yeah, it could be half. Yeah. But it would still be right up with you guys. So you would, I think, you get the feeling that a fight is about to break out here.
Okay.
And only Ulster and Loran have made it through so far.
I don't think I have.
You guys, as you're kind of standing there, you feel breath on the back of your necks as like heat from just the proximity of other people starts to press in on you. The badger is like kind of like knocking people back, but people are starting to bring in their own ways.
Can I look at the badger and the rat to attack the guards?
Yeah, but if we want to start a fight, that's going to become a different kind of encounter. So we'll do an initiative roll.
But wouldn't that distract the guards from fighting the party?
If we're going to start, if something attacks, we're going to do just an initiative to make sure that everybody can do something in an order. But I'll finish describing what I was going to describe. Okay. So as the badger is kind of like, and the rat are making these kind of like brief pockets of air for you guys by knocking people aside, there is a kind of like breath you get to take. But that is quickly suppressed by the rising kind of like hackles and tension you feel from the crowd as they kind of notice from the fire to the horse to the booming voice that you guys are making yourselves a interesting attraction, a target perhaps. And you hear kind of from the crowds, you hear them sort of shouting and just saying, "Well, they didn't stay at the back of the line. Why do they get to go and we don't? We were waiting here all day." And yells are starting to kind of come up. And the guards say, "Shove off! We're full, like I said! None of you getting in here. First in the line or back of the line." And they seem to be holding fast. But Ulster and Loran from behind, you kind of see them kind of like catching a look at each other. And you look over to the left and you can see that there are more guards kind of on their way. You get the impression that there's only a couple of like precious moments that your pals are going to be able to get through here before reinforcements come.
It's going to make us use all of our slots before the Gauntlet, though.
These guys don't. Well, I mean, these guys don't look. Make me an investigation check, also, or a perception.
Okay. Please. 22.
Okay. With a 22, you can tell that these people, whilst they are strong physically, not many of them are spellcasters, to say. So they probably aren't the brightest bunch, and are here just really as muscle. And people, Ulster from your previous experiences, that these people tend to be mercenaries and are rather fickle, with the exception of that one guard that you trampled and whose dying screams you could hear through the steps of the crowd.
if possible, then I'm going to go for another option of creating a distraction.
Okay.
I'm going to go for a guard on the end, and this might start an initiative, but I'm going more for a distraction than a full-on attack on all of them. I will produce flame and throw it at the furthest guard.
Okay, so you kind of holding Loran's hand, feeling the heat, you kind of rub your fingers together and sort of feel some of the ash from his remnant spell, and it gives you this thought. And he looks at you and he says, I mean, I was impressed by your fire magic before, if you have any fun ideas.
Oh, wish me luck. I don't know if I have to roll anything on the pay night.
You are using fire magic, so roll me a d20.
I'm assuming you would try to do non-lethal if you were going for distraction, right? Or
Can't do non-lethal with spells, I'm afraid.
You notice that also he doesn't care about these people dying. Which might be out of character, but this version of him doesn't care about these people at all.
Okay.
This reminds me of something else.
So you send a flame forward. What's your roll from? It's a attack roll, right?
It was a dirty 20.
A dirty 20. Okay, cool. So it hits square in the back, and it starts boiling the metal on the back of this guard's armor. What's your attack? What's your damage?
11 again.
11. This guy kind of like collapses forwards, and guys, there's a brief opening, and Saraza definitely jumps through. Sparks, are you coming through?
I would, if actually. Okay, so there'd be a void of who's controlling the carpet. I'm assuming in that time one of
no
us
longer in action. No longer in action. Loran took it down.
Oh, we've hopped off.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, sorry. All right. Yes, I. If possible, like dashing, and maybe like grabbing onto Astra.
Okay, you guys, you take Astra's hand, you guys jump through 1, 2, 3, and the guard comes back up, burns on the back of his neck, and you see the full force of the group slam forwards, and also the hand of that guard who you hit before just kind of curls and slackens. And you see these reinforcements come and they swell around the gate and they just shove into the backs, and the guards slowly start to step back in a rhythmic formation as 2 massive wooden buttresses are slid into where the guards were standing. And with each width they close, one guard steps away until the very last guard and the buttresses slam. And the remainder of the people outside just kind of heave themselves against these things and are reaching through, their arms kind of like grabbing. And one of the guards who was on that front turns around and looks at you all, recognizing you, and just says, that was a neat trick. A very neat trick.
Was there any reaction from the Paynites?
No, don't worry.
No,
not this time. I'm using a slightly different chart this way. Well, let's say no that you can understand. Or you can recognize it right away, at least. The guard sort of looking at you curiously. Oh. You guys may have to pay for this in your winnings if you do win, but who am I to turn away a winning team when I see one? I'd bet on you. You want to compete or you want to watch? You only have one option to compete, really, but I have to phrase it that way just for legal's sake. Come on. Throw yourself into the ring. If you don't, throw you back out there.
Can I have the warhorse trot loudly, like on the ground? And
I'm gonna say, okay, you can have the warhorse because it costs a spell slot. But any other, if it was the rat and the badger are fucking killing people out in the streets. Okay, they are not coming through. But the warhorse can come through because it costs you a spell slot. Also, you feel the kind of like bag that Serena gave you, and there is one extra bead in there. And when you hear like the final cries of the rat, you feel it kind of reanimate into the bag, the bead it came from. But you only have a certain amount of charges per day, so you can have one more for today. Sparks, the horse, trots up beside you.
I was look, if this horse is intimidating. Oh, actually, no, I have another thought, but I can't. No, Ulster doesn't understand Draconic. Me as a player, I'm thinking we don't necessarily need these winnings unless the winnings are essential to getting Shu back. Right?
He's basically saying he won't make a stink about the fact that you guys hurt people in order to get here.
If we bribe him.
If you guys compete and give him a little something on the side. He's asking for a bribe.
Yeah.
Okay. But the bribe will come out of your winnings, so you don't technically lose anything unless you die.
How much money do we get if we win?
15,000 gold.
Oh.
You don't deserve to be here! Right, okay. As you guys kind of think about this, we're just going to take a quick break because I really need some water.
Yeah, okay.
We'll come back to this in a sec. All right, I'll see you guys in 10 minutes, yeah.
Yes, I can do that. 8:30 p.m.
Great. So, you guys come through just as the gates close on you. You have your steed, and you have this guard here basically making you an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah.
But you can choose to make good of your situation. This guard seems to be a taller man, perhaps half orc or having some orcish ancestry. There's a sort of like sallowy yellow tinge to his skin. He's wearing that same kind of like well-used armor, which is in uniform with the rest of the guards here. It's clearly an official-ish sort of scenario that's been put together. Hi, Baz.
You go for Kato.
But these people are not trained with the same rigor or what's the word I'm looking for? Pageantry as the guards that a prayer usually has on their payroll. They're not quite like the ones who would have escorted you through the Green Sea. You feel like these ones might just as easily rough you up on the road as they would escort you safely through a city. Anyway, he looks at you and he just says, "You don't trust me."
No, we accept.
Oh, great. Okay.
But I have a question. Also kind of immediately surges forward. And could I roll a charisma check?
Okay, so tell me what you want to do first.
I want to get some information out of this guy, but I want Ulster to utilize his charms.
Well, you're going to have to roll, as usual, role play it first and then roll after.
Okay, he will come forward. We will do that. You can have money. We will pay you off. Mm-hmm. We know how this works. Mm-hmm. We are a good team. Mm-hmm. We are looking for someone. Would you perhaps be interested in a little bit more money for information?
I can be persuaded. Yeah. You've offered him something, so you don't need to roll.
Okay. Have you seen this person? He pulls out his journal and it's a drawing of Shu in a human form.
My mind is blank. I really can't put a name to face.
We're very good fighters. Well, we've already offered you money. You want more?
I want it in my hands. I want to feel how real it is. I'll take a portion of your winnings for letting you guys stay in here rather than throwing you back out.
What do you want to say?
Sparks.
Is there any possible way to insight the guard just as he is receiving this drawing, like looking at his face, reacting?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Go for it. I want some of that cash money. I want some of the moolah, darling. He's not around. How much?
6.
Okay. You have as much trouble discerning the truth from his expression as you would if it was someone wearing a mask. It's hard to say. But Ulster, you have you've got a pretty good passive perception. You do recognize a hint of recognition in his eyes. So clearly there is a knowledge of this person here. So you get that gives you a bit of confidence. But if you want anything concrete, a couple gold pieces might soften my tongue or wind up my memory. What's a couple gold pieces to you? You look like fancy folk.
Fancy, right? Whatever. Ulster will give him a couple of gold pieces. It's nothing to him.
So 5 gold. I've seen her. She's up next. Well, not next. In the next round. She'll be fighting her way through, leaving a path in her wake. Lots of blood, lots of gore.
So she's down below.
She fights for him. Yeah. She might even unseat Strong Cass. If she were here to defend her title.
Who is she fighting for?
I don't really rightfully know.
Hello?
Her origins are a bit of a mystery, let's be real.
Fluffy!
Sorry. So there are some reports saying she's from Psy, but we all know that's bollocks.
Why is that bollocks?
No one comes from there.
Well,
barely even exists, the place.
It's literally the biggest continent in the world, but alright.
And there's never any people coming to visit.
That's because they don't like visitors.
For a group of people who don't like visitors, they sure are quiet about it. Anyway, it's not my place to say. I'm just telling you, amongst people who don't have reading books and all that shit, may as well not exist. So, people say she comes from the Messiah, and it has the same air of mystique as if she'd come from the heavens. Oh. Shoo! Baking.
Okay.
Sorry.
Coming up in the next round of fighting, she's down below.
Usually, 5 fights around, she'll make her way through until the final fight. And if she wins, then we have a little bit of like a... Well, we call it... sharpening the blades.
What does that mean?
Well, swords get dull. They need something to wet them on. That's where we get our wild cards coming in.
Wild cards?
That'd be you. So you can hope she'll survive until the end, which it seems like she might. She hasn't let us down yet.
She will.
And then if you're so keen, you have a chance to face her yourself. A lot of you do.
Okay.
You look pretty formidable.
Yes.
You got through that lot. They're bloodthirsty as they come. Though they are the stragglers.
We are terrifying.
In Alarandhane. I am indeed. Hello. I mean, that's... You guys meant to be here. There's another entrance, for, like, people with tickets.
We're fighting.
Yeah, but, like, why'd you come in here?
He's not. He's spectating.
I am indeed.
Can we get him a ticket?
I mean, he's already in.
Oh, okay. Ryan, go stand with people with tickets.
I'm not leaving you, you fool.
But you have to.
Well, I can stay with you until you go on, right? And the guard says, well, I mean, I can make an exception for a couple more. And Loran just gives him a fistful of gold and says, shut up! Stop extorting us! God, I can see why it's so upsetting. I'm sorry I ever did this to you, Bluey. But I'd do it again. No, I wouldn't.
On trees for people.
I was making a tree once that had gold leaves.
If Sparks is able to pick up on much of the conversation about Shu, I think she would be wanting to know the rules of this arena. Like, if there are hard and fast rules. Is there like a wall with rules or a contract we sign or...
Sorry, keep going.
Just don't want to unnecessarily say die here. I think we'd all want it to be...
We can draw up a contract for you.
No, do not sign anything gives you.
No, only if something.
It'd only be a blank
existed.
piece of paper, darling, because we ain't making no promises. But if you feel better about signing something before you go in, that's fine. Pipe up to Will.
I think in Draconic, like, is there any rule? Like, maybe not looking at Astra, but sort of saying in Draconic, is there any rule against us joining up with fighters permanently?
Does Sparks want Astra to convey that in like another language to Ulster, or
Either that or like yeah, she wants a way to
Astra will convey it via Druidic?
as in meaning like if this person is important to Ulster and we're facing against her, then like we don't want to kill her, and I don't think we want her to kill us, you know, like what's the...
No. Also, we'll come over to you, Sparks. Take your hand and start guiding you away from the weird guard who was trying to take all of our money.
I got your faces. I'll let him know my bet's on you when you get in.
Sparks. We're not playing to win. We're playing to get to the final round.
Is the plan to escape?
Yes. And he looks at the man. We'll need a portal.
That is something I can do, but there is time. From how these things go, I remember Cass is my best friend. There is time to scope out the arena first before going into the battle. It's midday now. Fights don't start until 2 hours past noon. And you guys, if you're going at the very end, will be on sundown. So, you're going to be sitting around and kicking your feet for a couple hours, at the very least. They have so many fights going on parallel to each other, at least until Shoes round. So, let me suggest this. Let's scope out the arena. There will be some powerful people here, and if anyone involved in that little murder we found earlier is nearby, maybe they're here. Might be worth having a look in the VIP area. Perhaps we'll learn something. Also, this may not fit into your events or knowledge and know-how, but...
I have much knowledge and know-how.
I know you do. He pumps your nose. Bump. But if things are, as you say, slightly different in each universe, and this isn't exactly what you experienced before, perhaps it is worth trying to do this right in order to do it at all. You made such a stink about having him here, and he looks over at Sarasa.
We need Sarasa.
Well, that may be true. But if that is the case, then I'm willing to bet we need to have all the information before we get in there.
Well, it's good that you're on the outside then.
Come with me for a bit first. Afford me some distractions and talk to people where I can't.
People know who you are.
Exactly. You'll help me. Fly under the radar. Sarasa, by the way, is better known in those VIP circles than I am, aren't you? And Sarasa just says, in an attempt to make these more reasonable and legitimized, it's true that the government has been sending delegations to watch over the events. They're happening, they can't exactly stop them. So giving them a bit of order, perhaps, isn't the worst. But some of those people that Corral and Doral mentioned could be here.
Okay, and then
If we don't see them here, they'll be at Eldrelith, and it's better knowing than not knowing, I suppose.
Are we looking for information or are we looking to assassinate?
Honestly, either. Have we really gotten to the gut of the problem with the undead? Surely someone here knows something. This place reeks of ill intent.
Well, if the potions were all funneled here, then we'll see their effect, right?
That worries me more. The potions were funneled here, now we're here at the epicenter of it all.
I don't know when they're planning on letting that out.
But we do know they're very strict on letting people in and out at all. Who's to say those in here aren't endangered themselves? I think it might be safe just to explore as much as we can. And also, perhaps we'll even come across Shu. I don't know where they're keeping her.
I have an idea where she is.
Where is that?
He kind of just points down.
We could split.
If she sees me, she'll try and kill me. It's always that way. Me specifically. She's been, my father cursed her.
Do you know who she'll expect to be fighting with? Sorry, Sparks, go ahead.
Oh, do you know how the curse is undone?
I do, but the presence of the potion, whatever's been spread around this drug, complicates things a little bit. I can take Shu in a fight. Can't take a horde of undead and Shu in a fight.
I mean,
So
I have magic that can remove curses.
Loran says, and I do as well.
It's not a run-of-the-mill curse.
I'm not a run-of-the-mill wizard.
My father is
Not as good as me.
a very powerful man.
I think we could take him. And he points at Slayer. Don't you think so?
In a fight, right? Right.
Astra attempts a smile.
That's the spirit.
It's not a fight.
What my mother did for me, I have some skill doing, fathers. And if it is a necrosis or a more divine issue, then Sleer can weave in some of her own magic, and they can help me, and we can help each other, and we can all save Shu.
You know what?
Mm.
I think it's better to just let you see what happens and then what happens after. I think if I tried to explain it, it wouldn't help. So
Are we going to try and capture her?
Sparks, just leave Shu to me.
Okay.
Lauren holds up his hand and says, I'm not trying to make a plan. I'm just trying to convince you of my skills.
No one doubts your skills.
Oh. Come on. If my brother is useful at all, it'll be getting us into those VIP circles with those politicians and all the boring lot. And if I'm useful at all, it'll be getting us into the lower classes. The more interesting group of people to talk to.
Well, if you two are being recognised, then I suppose that will get us more information. We have to just hope I won't be recognised, but considering they refer to the Messiah as like heaven, they probably won't.
Loran says, honestly, our presence together will probably be the greatest invisibility cloak for the rest of you. Unless, of course, and he looks around at the three of you, your father's here. Anyone is on the lookout for a half-drow, half-tiefling creep. And someone's looking out for a spooky dragonborn. You're all a bit creepy. What do we think?
I mean, I can change my face for a couple of hours, so.
But
if
it's
I
such a
need to
beautiful
not be
face.
seen.
I prefer to stick together.
I am interested who shoots fighting.
You want to find out?
Maybe.
It could be relevant.
You know, I've never even learned their names before. We should ask.
Names of the other combatants?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, rumour that they are. I never actually questioned why Messiahs ended up here. Which is an interesting thing.
Relevant
Angloran
to...
looks... Sorry.
Also,
No, go ahead.
relevant to how we conduct ourselves before the fight, or something to think about afterwards?
I mean,
You're going to kill them. It's blood sport. Be careful about getting too close.
also kind of frowns as he seems to be thinking over something. You're right. Yeah,
I'm right about...
we're going to kill them anyway, so.
I mean, is there no other alternative? We can't just knock them out.
When you see them fight, I think you may understand better the situation we're going to be in.
Okay.
I think Loran says, we are exactly the kinds of people that you would expect to find down here. Bluey was raised in a cult, for God's sakes. Sorry. Most of us were cast out by our parents or other family members. And some of us live in the shadows forever, so I don't think we'll stick out that much, or at least you three won't. If you're asking me to suggest an alternative at all, who's to say you couldn't do the fight before the arena even accepts you on? There has to be a rest point between the battles.
You want to ambush Shu?
Would you rather wait until the fight's all set up for you in front of the crowd with all those distractions?
Would be a perfect moment to strike as well. For the Coral's underlings.
If they're waiting for a signal, just don't give it to them.
Indeed, we could swoop in before we're even expected.
We may miss out on some crucial information, but who's to say that we can't get that later? And if everybody's here doomed already, maybe the fact of becoming undead, if that is what's going to happen, will take care of those targets for us. Unless, of course, they're in control of the whole thing. No matter what you choose, whether you choose to fight them in the arena or ambush them beforehand, he says that a bit quieter, you will lose or gain something. It's an important choice to make. If we want to ambush them, we do it right now.
I've never ambushed her before.
Ulster, maybe things can be different.
Well, when she sees me, it will be easier for the rest of us to take her on.
And if there's two of you, will she be confused? He looks over at you, Sleer.
That's very true. There could be two of you quite easily.
I'm sure she'll know your scent, but at the very least, it might protect you a little bit.
I
Maybe
mean,
for
I
a
could try and mimic your
surprise?
scent.
It's more so if you give her time to. He kind of taps his head. If you give her time to recognize my brain.
Okay. Sparks and Sarazin. You two are warriors. I feel like if anybody is going to approach her directly, even though you aren't the most charismatic of the bunch, perhaps you two would be best suited for it. That's an insult, and you can take it or leave it.
I have to be the one to land the final blow.
No one will take that from you, I'm sure. But
no, I actually have to be.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Ulster.
No, please.
No one's going to take that from you.
No, it's not taking it from me. It's just that it won't work.
I understand, Ulster. I understand the
Okay.
logics. Okay. He says, if you two approach her, I don't think it'll be too out of the ordinary, and you're strong enough, both of you, that I'm sure you could gauge her reaction. If she immediately starts attacking, we can all jump in. And hopefully we'd still preserve the element of surprise if there are two Ulsters to contend with. Even if it only buys us one moment. Perhaps that could be the most valuable moment.
Better than nothing.
You guys would know in D&D terms a surprise round would give you
Extra
advantage, in which you would get more in than usual. Hits would be a critical. But Loran says, like I said, we'd be missing out on gathering of intelligence. But I can't make that choice. I can only make suggestions.
The intelligence we'll get here. Well, typically it's an assassination. I will say that much. And he looks up and checks for any cracks in the sky. No, we're okay. I think maybe. I cannot give more intelligence, obviously.
Well, was Gerald involved before? Perhaps it was right to send him away. If he's not even here, Karul isn't even in the game anymore. He's not a piece on the board. Then, if we strike and throw further confusion in, who's to say they've even had time to fill in that vacuum that Karul left?
They probably haven't. It's more so. Okay, right. If anyone hears the sound of eggs cracking, you have to stop me. It's more so who Karul. I'm not worried about Karul's underlings. That was a very general statement, he says to no one in particular.
I thought you were going to say who Karul was working for.
I'm not worried about Karul's underlings. I'm more so worried about... Well, okay. With Karul, the thing is, this is a very carefully structured tapestry. Loran, you know what I'm talking about.
I do indeed.
And everything tends to go in place. When you pull out major threads, the whole thing warps into something unrecognizable, and another artist has to come in and fill in those threads, right?
True.
So Karul is one of the main artists in this tapestry. And even though I'm very grateful that I'm not in eternal slavery to him, by removing him, we've opened up a very big hole in this tapestry. And the thing that I'm worried about is who or what may come in to weave through that hole.
Okay.
So the tiny threads, we can always recover those. If we take out Shoe in another way, I don't think it will leave a big hole in the tapestry. It's more so that if we say Karul's been taken off the board, there's no problem, haha, that's what I'm worried about.
Loran says, that's not what I was suggesting. I was suggesting that if we act now, we might be taking an advantage of the fact that they've not replaced him yet. I am sure
but if
we are more like I think we're more like seam rippers, in which we have chosen a point at which we're going to cause maximum damage for a short amount of time, but when you actually pull away, the cut is clean and easily fixed. What do you think?
We can try and extract you.
Let's do that.
Just be aware that Crawl's not the biggest threat.
Is it less of a who and more of a what?
I think that's enough.
Okay. So we're going to try and make a quick job of this event.
Loran says, I can't go, can I, Monster?
Go where? To get you? No, we need a portal. We really need all of your magic.
Okay. Let's go. I will figure it out on the way.
Slia, Astra, what do you prefer to be called in public, may I ask? Because obviously it's very difficult for me. I have many different naming conventions for you in my head that I have to re-scramble quite a lot.
Either is fine.
Understood. I will give you a set of my clothes for the scent. We'll change on
the magic. I mean, I will need your clothes, yes, but the magic makes me a double of you, literally.
Okay, so physically you'll be exactly the same, but you'll need to smell like me too.
Yes.
It'd be good to have your clothes on, at least on you. A genuine item of Allstairs might help Shu become more confused.
Let's find a place to discreetly change.
Give him some of your hair and perhaps a toenail clipping or a bit of your blood.
I could give some blood. That would probably confuse her even more.
Loran gets a fine sort of sewing needle from his pocket and he just says, yeah, this will be helpful. I don't want you to bite yourself.
I don't know if that will get enough blood to...
It will.
Okay, you hold that as on.
Don't worry about that, Sparks. Loran pricks your finger, Allstar, and presses down. And a bead kind of climbs up and sort of like starts wrapping around the needle, almost like thread until it spools. And he pulls away and it kind of stays in like a string. And Loran takes the needle, takes your hand, Astra, and starts sewing it into your skin.
Oh. Let's hope our blood types are compatible.
They're not. This is just for fun.
Right,
Don't ask me why I made this.
why did you make that? What came to mind? You said
the
what?
answer is going to be far more concerning than anything we can come up with.
It's true.
I'm sure he'll tell me one day.
I knew I liked you.
Also,
You're really creepy, though.
His pack and pulls out a blouse to give to Liam. That should work.
It's the way your eyes look into my soul. It's like I'm looking at the moon.
Yes, I don't have pupils.
I think Loran laughs. Right, onwards. My brain feels like meat.
All right, let's make 2 Allstairs.
Okay. As you guys head around the side of this Colosseum into the building of the Gauntlet proper, next week we will figure out exactly how this will go. So, let's do Monday. We'll do a 2-hour game. And then Anna